On a cold night, a hungry little girl held a sign that read, "Can I play for food?" People chuckled. They thought it was a joke. But when her fingers touched the piano, their laughter turned into silence. And then, into tears. On a chilly evening, people rushed along the sidewalks, clutching their warm drinks and shopping bags. Among them stood a thin girl, maybe 12 or 13, her coat far too big and her shoes worn thin. Her name was Elena. She held a piece of cardboard with shaky handwriting, "Can I play for food?" Some glanced at her with pity, others looked away quickly, pretending not to notice. A group of teenagers passed by, pointing and laughing. "Play for food? What does she think she is, a star?" One of them mocked. Elena lowered her eyes, clutching the cardboard tighter. She wasn't asking for money, just a chance. But what no one knew was that inside this fragile girl lived a gift, one that could silence laughter and stir even the coldest heart. Elena hadn't always lived like this. Once, her home had been filled with music. Her father was a pianist, not famous, but passionate. Every evening, he would sit at the upright piano in their small living room, and little Elena would climb onto the bench beside him. "Listen," he would whisper, guiding her tiny fingers across the keys, "the piano isn't just notes. It's feelings. It's your heart speaking." Those were the happiest moments of her life. But happiness can be fragile. Her father fell ill, and the medical bills grew. After he passed, her mother worked tirelessly, but money slipped through their hands like sand. Eventually, the rent could no longer be paid. One night, with nowhere to go, Elena and her mother found themselves on the streets. Her mother tried to shield her from the harshness of it all, but Elena knew. She could see the worry in her mother's tired eyes. Music became a memory, until now. Days were long, nights were colder, hunger was constant, but what hurt more was the ache in Elena's soul. Whenever she passed by a music shop, she would press her face to the glass, watching as someone's fingers danced over a piano. The sound carried her back to her father's voice, to warmth, to safety. She whispered to herself, "If I could just play again, even once." But she was invisible to the world. To passers-by, she was only a homeless girl begging for food. Nobody saw the spark in her eyes when she thought about music. Nobody imagined the treasure her hands held. That evening outside the cafe, Elena noticed something. In the corner, near the stage where small bands sometimes played, stood an old upright piano. Its surface was scratched, its keys yellowed with time, but to Elena, it was the most beautiful sight in the world. She gathered her courage and approached the cafe owner. "Please," she whispered, "may I play, just one song?" "I'll play for food." The man raised an eyebrow. Customers overheard and snickered. A homeless girl playing piano. This should be good, someone joked. Elena sat down. Her fingers hovered above the keys, trembling. For a moment, fear threatened to swallow her. But then, she pressed the first note. It rang out clear, like a drop of water in silence. Then another. And soon, the cafe filled with a melody so rich, so aching, that laughter vanished. Her small hands flew across the keys, carrying sorrow, hope, and all the love her father once gave her. The cafe froze. Even outside on the street, people stopped to listen. When the final note faded, silence hung heavy. The same people who laughed now sat motionless, some with tears glistening in their eyes. A child broke the silence. Tugging on his mother's sleeve, he whispered, "Mommy, she plays like an angel." The cafe owner blinked, stunned. Customers began clapping, not polite applause, but thunderous, heartfelt clapping. Elena sat frozen on the bench, unsure if she had done something wrong. For the first time in a long time, she saw smiles, not mocking ones, but genuine admiration. Among the crowd was an older woman with silver hair and kind eyes. She stepped forward and asked softly, "Child, who taught you to play like that?" Elena swallowed hard. "My father, before he passed away." The woman's eyes filled with tears. She was a retired piano teacher, someone who had trained students her whole life. Yet she knew talent when she heard it, raw, unpolished, but extraordinary. That night, Elena did not go hungry. The cafe gave her food. The woman offered her lessons. And soon, word spread about the little girl who could turn pain into music. The cafe invited her back every weekend, and people began to gather, not for coffee, but for her music. Months later, Elena stood on a real stage. The lights were bright, and the grand piano gleamed under them. Her hands no longer trembled with fear, but with excitement. As she began to play, the audience leaned forward, captivated. Every note told a story of loss, of struggle, but also of hope and resilience. This was not just music, it was Elena's life poured into sound. When the final chord echoed, the hall erupted in applause. Elena looked upward, whispering in her heart, "Papa, I'm still playing, for you." The girl once laughed at for begging to play for food had become a symbol of courage. And the world would never forget the night a homeless child revealed she was a prodigy.